Oh, hey there. I didn't see ya. Alright, let me move my stuff and let's get going. A lot to do, many places to be, many things to do. Here we go. Fantastic. Okay. So we got a couple more magnets. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, my volume. Okay, now that should sound right. Hey, Sneaky. Great. I got a couple more magnets to put in, and we can get to priming. Ta 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 ta. T T T T. La la la. Let's see. Good test. Okay, so that direction. Fantastic. That. Oh, this pencil would help. You having a good evening, Sneaky? Camera set up right. Chance. Holy crap, it's a stream. That's right. A stream of me trying to clear out the hole in this glue bottle so I can use the glue. Because I was a fool and didn't close the lid. Whoa! Two magnets is more than enough. Of course, the moment I start streaming, Allie is texting me and asking me to schedule with her what she and I want to do today. So perfect timing. I don't know why, but my YouTube and Discord notifications have not been working. Thankfully, the Discord one kicked in today. It's okay, you know, if you don't want to hang out, Chance, you could just say so, man. It's okay. It's okay. Please don't say that. Otherwise, I'll be as alone as the Grinch on Christmas. Alright, there we go. 2 in there. I don't know where to put the magnet. I also, you know, struggle to be consistent with the stream, with, you know, adulting always getting in the way a bit. It's not just you, it's me. There we go. These are in. Yeah, it's kind of been a bit of an annoying thing of like not being able to get the stream schedule right. Because I want to craft more. I want to hang out with you guys more. But I have a lot of late nighters. And then I sleep in because I had a late night. Stick with 2. There we go. Try to do more weekend streams. Weekday just seems to be like an uphill battle for me. Doesn't mean I'm not going to stream on the weekdays. I think those are going to be surprise streams. And then we can just rely on the fact that I'll show up on the weekend. So these are going to glue. The goal is to have the bottoms be able to connect to these as bases, as well as this to connect to a bottom. I can do whatever direction I want. That makes a lot of sense. Those are all set. Now, these chunguses, they need to get primed. And since the last stream, I've kind of detailed them to make them a little more like rocks. I've even added some foam. There we go. To be like rocks. Aren't I smart? I think so. Alright. Don't tell me otherwise, please. Mod Podge and black paint. Everyone's favorite gunk. Try to cover this up because I don't need to just spill a huge amount and be upset with myself. Also, I need a fairly decent sized brush. Those are all miniature brushes. It's okay. I'll figure it out. Nope. That's not. Oh, nope. Okay. Nope. Yeah. Yep. There we go. I got a brush. I don't have a palette. Alright, back down there. Nope. There's no palette down here. Really thought there'd be a palette out there. Where would I have put my little palettes? Oh. Oh. As the French like to say, oh. Oh. Where would I put my palette? Strange. That's so strange. I would have sworn. Oh, there's one. One out of the 20. Alright. No goofs. No more goofs. No more gaffs. We're making stuff. Big chongus pieces. Kind of see on a subtle level the texture that I had in there for the giants. Steak. That would have been horrible. Yeah, adulting's tough, man. You gotta feed that inner kid as much as you can. No one else will. So if you can just spend, 30, 60 minutes a day just giving your inner child some love. If you can do that every day, or like once a week. Once a week, that's 50 times a year. That's a lot of love your inner child's getting. I think that's a good base coat. Trying to feed the real life kids. Yeah, that's true. That's not easy. Especially when they throw the food on the floor. Like, no, I don't want my broccoli. You're like, come on, dude. Please. I want to make this a bigger missing chunk. Yeah, that's nicer. You go ahead and lurk, man. Just hang out. If that's what you need to do, you do you, man. The music's here to relax. The sounds of brush strokes against foam is to remind you of the chalkboard that your teacher scratched as a kid. All good. Drive safe. Blizzards be wrecking. They're like Ralph. They be Ralphin'. It just came out of my hand. Because I can barely hold it, I should probably put it down and do the touch-ups. Good. I've been playing Call of Duty World War II lately. Chris, you all know Chris if you're familiar with the channel. he recommended me play that to help prep for Saving Prince Ryan. And it's a really fun game. Because I've been watching Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, Monument Men, and just more World War II movies. Because this adventure that I'm prepping for is very much a World War II-esque fantasy adventure. And Chris recommended me checking out World War II Call of Duty because it's got a lot of good gameplay involved and level design, and boy is it fun. It's like the movies will make a sequence like D-Day very big, very huge cinematically. But when you play the game, it's like, oh, the D-Day is a very small level, just high intensity. And it's like, oh yeah, I should remember that so we don't spend 4 hours just running a beach. Curious what a fantasy World War II campaign looks like. I mean, that's what I'm curious about and why I'm prepping it. You gotta be careful about your themes, right? I think it's worth, making fascism the bad guy, as it should be. And then trying to tell the story of, like, why is that the situation here? Who are these allied forces and why are they gang together to fight the evil fascists? CJ Smith, oh, you're 23 months. Happy Sunday. I have ideas of, like, so we want to have chapters. I'm thinking of it in chapters where the players, like, do the classic beats of Saving Private Ryan, right? D-Day, avoid the sniper tower, have a quest to go find somebody. But I also think there's opportunities between chapters is to cut to other campaign groups of players. So let's say we have 5 players doing the main mission. We can cut to at any point between episodes on side quests with other players doing like a 1 or 2 episode chapter, like Monument Men, where they have to preserve the art or the history of the place that they're destroying in the war. And you talk about how important history and culture is during the time of war. Or you can have a side quest like Band of Brothers where it's a airdrop, but that quickly becomes Saving Private Ryan. Or a side quest where, like, the main campaign is going to go to town Bravo. Cool. Before we get there, let's go play with these other players on their side quest to get to town Bravo before them and see if they make it safer or harder for the main campaign because they either failed or succeeded at the task. Or even, this is because I was born in Germany, play the bad guys. Not the officers, but like the grunts who are just having to fight the war. And as players, let's tell the story of like how these characters justify being on this side. What made them have to join? Or what made them believe they needed to join? And that can kind of start adding that moral gray area too. Spies, code breaking. Oh yeah, even that. What's a good movie with that? I mean, there's a lot of that in a lot of movies. We can take things from World War I as well, like 1917. That's taking 1917 and putting it into D&D. That's pretty dope. You have to deliver this letter because the enemy forces have an anti-magic zone up, and we can't send message to our general who's about to attack armed forces that are trapping him. We're going to lose about like 10,000 soldiers. That's such a high stakes D&D game. But also, it's not the end of the world. Like, yeah, you could lose the battle because you didn't deliver the letter. Doesn't mean the war was lost, but it does mean that the war is now harder. And I think that's interesting side quests where do you make the main plot, the main story, easier or harder for the main characters? What's his name? Hackshaw Ridge, I think it's called. A machine which allows for listening in to sending spells. Ooh! Wasn't the solution because they couldn't transcode, they couldn't figure out which ones were German and which ones were anyone, honestly, until they just figured out at the end of every German message it's Heil. And so they just coded it to find Heil at the end of the message, and they quickly got all the German messages. Intercept scrying. As you scry on this individual, collecting the information you need to save your comrades, to save civilians, you feel the presence of someone else, someone beside you. You turn and look, you don't see anyone. No one else is in this room but the person you scry on. Someone's literally scrying on your scry. Oh, that is... Because scrying in the spell says if someone has see invisibility, they can see an orb as the formation of your scry, which means scrying is a physical object. So you could technically scry on another scry. Scry with see invisibility. You scry on a place and there's like 30 scrying in the room. You're like, whoa. People are watching this right now. That's how they're doing broadcast messages. You have a diviner using scrying to scry on the general, like sending a message, and the diviners are communicating it. Fake operation, which the enemy scries on and gets fake information from a fake headquarters. Oh! I mean, I wouldn't even do that to the enemy. I would do that to the players. And you try to like describe it and word it in a way that it sounds right, but there's something off about it. Because one of the things for the setting, so context for the setting, and this helps narrow. Oh, my screen just went black. Don't know why. And the whole point of them going to war is that this is the first war in the setting that really is political between people than it is between monsters and gods. And the royals are just sending people to die. And the orcs are like, no, screw this. This is not right. So they form the military of the three. The city that they're attacking, or the state that they're attacking, is Homebrew. Homebrew is an arcane city. It's a magocracy. So when you think of D-Day, you got to think of, sure, there might be spellcasters in the boats coming on the beach, but instead of gun turrets, there may be, sure, some ballistas and archers, but there are a lot of wizards shooting fireballs down on the beach. They're shooting lightning. You're avoiding complete and utter disintegration. When you're trying to break through a barrier, it's wall of force. It's like you have to get through wall of force just to move up. Even just a cascade of magic missile would be oh, absolutely. You know, it's a magocracy, right? So they've invented ways to make sure non-magical citizens can cast spells, right? Their non-magical army has magical abilities. Does that make sense? Mundane soldiers with magical abilities. So they might all have wands of magic missiles. They might have bombs of fireball. Air Genasi, maybe wrong spelling. Fighting above. Yeah, so the Genasi in the setting are called Jinn. So you have Fire Djinn, Water Djinn, Earth Djinn, and Air Djinn. And in the timeline, Air Djinn do have the ability to have airships. Maybe not complicated ones. Like the only example we have is like a hot air balloon so far in the campaigns. You could have an airstrike or not an airstrike, but what is it? In Band of Brothers, what are they? An air force to drop down into enemy territory. So the air genasi can help with that. Water genasi can be helping making sure that the boats land on the beach. Kind of in that same way as like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, you had the sand benders pushing the sand on the beach on the desert. So you can have small little things like that, which just add a little bit of fantasy to it, and go, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I don't know, I feel like Fire Genasi would be taken advantage of. Like, they're essentially walking engines, right? Let's use the phone. Earth Genasi are probably doing a lot of recon where they're using a lot of it's not seismic, but like it's the ability to see through the sounds and the vibrations of the environment. So they could be doing a lot of tunneling, and because it's easier for them in a time of war, you're taking advantage of people's abilities. Foxholes, tunnels. Yep. In smithing weapons and armor. Yeah, agreed. Dwarves, I have a really cool surprise. I don't really want to talk about it. Let's just say the dwarves bring the tanks. In my setting, we haven't really explored dwarven culture, let alone dwarven military, and this is an opportunity to really explore the technological achievements of every culture all clashing at once. I think that's kind of the world building fun of a big war, is like, where is everyone at technologically, and how can we just like bring it together, and you really get the excuse to explore a lot of different ideas. Like, for example, you know, Europe never really got into it, but China got it a long time ago, before Rome, I want to say, is a repeating crossbow. They built a wooden magazine on top of a crossbow, and they had 8 rounds. And if you're really good with it, you're as fast as a Winchester today. So like, we're saying Mobile has magical weapons for people, so that way their mundane soldiers can have magical abilities, and that's their advantage technology-wise. The Allied forces, the Orcs, what do they have? They have brute force training, bravery, they have an oath. I'm saying that the dwarves will bring the tanks. What do the orcs have then? Then there's Braymore, then there's Martima. Like, it's really about where can we put these people? It's really good. Now I imagine Fury with dwarves. Dude, Fury with dwarves! That's literally the title. A poor level 1 priest made to be a gunner. I'm not meant to be here. Oh yeah, Hacksaw Ridge. That's a full party priest side quest. It not even. You can take what you're saying, like just make that a character. Who talk to whoever's gonna play the priest, you know, in a kind of session 0 and prepping is like, take a look at Hacksaw Ridge, like great World War II example of a priest in combat. Dude, I'm running out of spots to put all this wet paint. Let's see. I can put these up above. Yeah, I can put these up here. Let them dry. Oh, there we go. And then pull out another one of these. Fire Genasi healer, cauterizing the wounds. Cauterizing? Why can't I say the word? Cauterizing the wounds. That's crazy. I never thought I could do that. It's fun. Yeah, so I'm really like taking in a lot of World War II movies, TV shows, and looking for those plots, whether or not they become side quests or they're like just a list of backup scenes in case players choose to go left instead of right, you know. Playing Call of Duty World War II to get even more encounter ideas, because it's already a game, so it's already been thought through from a designer's point of view for players. I think once I finish this dungeon set, I think I'm going to focus on building the terrain for saving Prince Ryan. Like, I got beaches to make, trenches to make. Trenches are going to be a big thing to work on because they'll be reused throughout the entire adventure. I think you know, whenever we get to filming it, whatever date that will be is irrelevant. I think the most important thing is the release. I think the release of that series will happen on like a Memorial Day of that year. I think that's the smart move. Veterans Day, Memorial Day, like, because part of doing an adventure like that is very much like not just the cool factor, it's the historic value of it. Like, hey, in my world, I wanted a way to give appreciation to those who sacrifice themselves to stop evil fascists. I don't know how this, I'm about to say a movie, I don't know how this movie is going to help the adventures as encounters, but it definitely can help set the tone and make some NPCs, is Schindler's List. I think that would be important. The whole movie's baked in my brain already, but like, you know, watch it while taking notes. Oh, Inglourious Bastards. Would the campaign start before the war and demonstrate the events leading up, or plunk the adventure midway in? I believe we will do flashback chapters going to set up events for characters, set up political things, right? Things that make sense. But as for like the adventure as a show, I think it's smart to just jump in on D-Day. If I'm calling it something like Saving Prince Ryan, we know where we need to start for a cinematic, action-packed hook. We have all this energy. We're setting the tone of what this campaign setting is. And then chapter 2 being slow down, focus on characters. Because we don't know which characters are going to make it through the opening sequence. Yeah, CJ. Those repeating crossbows were really weak, though. They would only work against lightly armored opponents. I mean, 8 shots against unarmored opponents? Like, let's think about this. You know, World War II, people didn't have armor. They had uniforms. The 3 is just being made. The 3 is the main private military of the setting. It is just being made now for that setting in a timeline perspective. So like the heavy plate armor that Trace wears in Curse of Amity Island, because he's a member of the 3, that uniform of armor isn't a thing yet. It's just people agreeing to wear the same colors, and maybe some people have plate armor, some people have patches of armor, but they're all kind of wearing the same color because they all dyed it so that way they can see each other on the battlefield. But even though the repeat crossbow's weak, I don't have to slow down my loading to fire more shots. Think of also a repeat ballista. You put a magazine on that sucker. Suk-thum, suk-thum, suk-thum. Washa? Makes me think of Hashas, Washa. I think the W is silent. Hachas? Hachas. Hatches? Small rocket-propelled arrows developed in Korea, according to Wikipedia. That's sick. The magazine is the easy part of the repeating ballista. Pulling back the string quickly is the hard part. That's true. You'd probably have Earth Genasi and Orcs really be the people who are operating that machine. Also, I'm not opposed to having some magical elements in that, because the era right before this conflict was a very arcane, technological focused era. kind of like an arcane Victorian era. So it makes sense that, you know, Mobul will have arcane weaponry. It makes sense that the three would want to find ways to meet them in that technological complexity of like, hey, if we don't have magically modified armor or weapons, whatever we can get our hands on, like we're likely to lose a lot of the war. So I would see, I could see a lot of wizards would, it kind of like, oh, here you go. We would have very much the Manhattan Project. A lot of wizards are coming together. Artificers would have a justification to exist. And why outside of war times, artificers probably struggle economically. Because it's like, oh, we don't need weapons of mass destruction. Oh, this has been sounding awesome. Assassination attempts of high-profile figures. Yep. Power word kill. If there are artificers in the world, I think it would make sense that they would at least have scaled up versions of force ballistas. Yeah. I think I barely explored artificers in my world. Because I don't, it's the balancing act of like, what is in D&D that is necessary to be in the campaign setting or the world versus like making just a good fantasy world. We had Allie's character in Curse of Amity Island be an artificer because that's what her dad was, and her mom's a blacksmith. And we did talk about how her dad is struggling. We didn't dive too deep into it because we didn't know where that was in the setting. We just knew that artificers is an old thing, not a new thing. And the campaign for Saving Prince Ryan is 800 years before Curse of Amity Island. So yeah, like artificers would have come out of the first dawn into the second dawn and really have been put into enlisting and being forced to work like scientists and work along wizards. So you have the red wizards, the blue wizards, and the gray wizards. really chaotic, lawful, and neutral. I like the colors red wizards because it reminds me of the red wizards from the Forgotten Realms. Blue wizards because it makes me think of Merlin from Sword in the Stone. Gray wizards because it makes me think of Gandalf. So we'll probably be exploring that, where you're fighting a lot of red wizards and gray wizards. You don't know if you can trust them. And blue wizards, there's probably very few of them, because most of the wizards are from Moldbowl. And likely, a lot of blue wizards are prisoners to the allies, because it's like, we don't know if you're really blue. You might be red in disguise. This is the first real big war of its kind. It's going to be impossible to armor all those troops. Yeah, it's true. It's really, I just gotta wait for this to dry. Yeah, I'll put this up too. If they get too close, they'll just snap to each other. Oh, I can paint these. Heck yeah. But we're talking about a lot of cool stuff, like the technology, the magic and stuff. World War II stories are about our humanity. Alongside all the fun, historic elements to it, the exciting combat and action for us viewers, the story being like, what does it mean to be a person? What does it mean to survive war? What does it mean to go to war? Why is it important that we have people in our world that are willing to lay down their lives for others? You know, those are themes that have to be talked about in session 0, because when we slow down the action and we focus on the role play, if the players know the themes that we want to hit on, those are going to be parts of the conversation. Artificer becomes like today's college students or parents thought it was best to do. Artificers doing it after war, and then told their kids to do it. Yeah, based off the events so far in the setting, that really rings true to artificers. So sad. Jim! Hey, Jim. Coming by to wish everyone a good day as I'm about to sleep. Hey, you know what, buddy? You have some wonderful dreams. You know that? You just need to relax, have some great dreams, and wake up well rested. I hope you have a well rested, good night's sleep. Don't let the bed bugs bite or the xenomorph in your closet. I think some adventures in the campaign will have some great mini and set pieces, and I think there'll be like a couple that have no minis at all because they might not need them. I think that's going to depend on what minis we make on the stream and the themes of the adventure. Because if it's a very espionage style side quest, you don't really need minis. You just need good theater of the mind narration and conversation. Gonna head out to CJ. You have a wonderful time. Gotta get the kids down to bed. Heck yeah. Have a great night, evening, wherever you are. I'm trying to think of another World War II movie or World War I movie. There's Valkyrie. I don't know if that's the right tone. Haven't seen it in a long time. Heck yeah, Chance. Inglorious Bastards. That's a fun side quest group of characters. The Illid? I don't think I know that one. Speaking of Curse of Amity Island, though, the next adventure is super close. We got 2 more tracks of music, and once those 2 tracks are in, I'm clicking that export button. The Illid is the story of the Trojan War. That's probably why I didn't think of it when you said it. Because I was thinking of World War II movies called The Illid. Reminds me of Fantasy World War. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, massive wars like that are crusades. They really are just that. That's actually an interesting concept. How do you bring in the Trojan War, or like Trojan horse? Or do you save that for a different conflict in history? That would be interesting. Okay, these gotta go dry. Oh. Illid. Isn't the Illid Odysseus' ship? What's Odysseus' ship named? Yeah, I know. Yeah, but Odysseus led the battle for the Trojan horse in the Trojan War. Or am I mixing my history? World War II and fantasy tend to go hand in hand. A lot of fantasy stories happen around the time. Yeah, especially if you... Ooh, that's a great point. A lot of escapism during that time. Because the Illid is, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the Illid, like Sneaky pointed out, is the story of the Trojan War. The Odyssey is a side quest to the Trojan War. A big side quest, but it's part of it. It's like Monument Men or Inglourious Bastards to Saving Private Ryan. He loses half a dozen ships and all his crew. Yeah, totally. I know that. It's not a good story. I mean, or by that I mean a positive story. It's very disastrous. The audience has the circle. So eventual return to his home. No, the Odyssey is Odysseus trying to get home after the Trojan War. Takes him 10 years. Yeah. So the beginning of the Odyssey, though, is him going to war. Is it just the end of the war, or the mid-war, or we kind of just skip the war for most of it, and we just focus on Odysseus's rad, wild journeys? Ladies on the island, Cyclopses in caves, ships speaking to him. It's after the war. Okay. Okay, so I have my timeline mixed up. Wait, if it's after the war, though, Odysseus is at the Trojan War. He's the one who led the Trojan horse through the gates. Was the Trojan horse that late in the war? I thought that was early or mid. Yeah, my timeline's a little mixed up. Okay. I don't remember. I remember nobody else being in the Cyclops in this game. Though the whole, half the crew gets eaten in that cave. No, not half. I think the movie depicts it like 5 guys, and then the dude who sacrifices himself. Okay, so let's dive into the Iliad. What are the chapter bullet points? So that way, ideally, my brain remembers it, or I just have to go relearn it. Let me dig out my mythology book. Achilles, that's right. Achilles would be in there. Good old Brad Pitt. Weren't expecting me to bring that one out. What's the story of Circe's? Circe's is Achilles' mother? Damn. Where's Dale Kingsmill when you need her? Hector dies, who was Achilles' roommate, and so Achilles goes on to tear for revenge. Roommate, that's right. That's right. was the daughter of a water nymph and was a great witch. I thought Circe was a goddess. No, she's a witch, that's right. Odysseus lands on her island, and his crew are turned into pigs. I remember the turn into pigs one. That was Circe. Damn. I thought that was just like random harpy. No, that was Circe. Oh, absolutely. We have the books on audiobook. I have yet to dig deep into them. All I'm trying to pull out is my memory as a kid, what I've been told. And what I watched. Thought there was a bullet point summary of Odyssey, but nope. I mean, you could ask an AI what the Odyssey and the Iliad were as bullet points, and it'd give you something with some accuracy. My famous and was the Cyclops, where they escape by wearing the sheepskin. Yep. Oop, that was a lot. I knew all those hours of age mythology would pay off someday. You're welcome, buddy. There's a show on Netflix. Monsters and Myths, or Myths and Monsters, I think it is. It's a little bit of a docu-series where they have an older man as like kind of like a lore keeper in a library or office, and he kind of just narrates some of the most classical stories in mythos, and each episode is a different story, and then they animate, rather than filming it, they animate it with very simple art and crude animation. But, oh my god, the show is so good. My stomach is now yelling at me. So much. Illid. Paris has to pick which goddess is prettiest, gets pretty girl as a reward, who happens to be married to Menelios. I'm gonna say Menelios. War is declared over this. Classic. Wait. I know this story. Reluctant heroes are assembled. Odysseus, Achilles, D-Day landing, raiding of everything around Troy. Internal politics lead to Achilles' roommate, boyfriend, getting killed by Hector. Fucking Hector. Achilles gets shot by poison arrow and dies. I think he gets shot in his heel. I think that was very specific. Plenty of other shenanigans and shawagons. And eventually the horse. Some like to say that was the first horse. It was in beta. Just on the edge of the screen. There we go. Mark, you can't do it anymore. You can't make those kind of mistakes, man. The stakes are too high. Mark, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for being a part of the conversation, too. I think after I do the second coat on these steps, I'm going to call it and go eat because I am starving. My stomach won't shut up. I'm ready to play more God of War Ragnarok. That's pretty funny. Isn't there 2 God of War Ragnaroks? Or is it just 1? I feel like there's 2. Then Valhalla the DLC. Gotcha. You know, I had almost 3,000 calories yesterday. My stomach can growl a little bit. This might be the last piece. Pum 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 pum. Take the top. Ta-da! All right. Good session. Got a lot of stuff painted, mostly primed. Toss this. I just realized there's a green dragon. Yeah, if you look in the... Oh, hi kitty. If you look at the Discord, I posted some of the photos of this. Of these stairs and the pillars put together in kind of various ways. I tossed the dragon and the giant all on there as like fun, scalable visuals. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's a good way to start your Sunday. Ooh, that fell. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. The next stream, definitely, I gotta look at my calendar. It's so hard with my schedule to just guarantee a routine streaming schedule. Tomorrow's Monday. I'll try to stream tomorrow night. And if I don't stream tomorrow night, then it'll be Tuesday night for sure. Let's play that game. Alright. Have a wonderful rest of your day, your weekend. Stay safe out there. I hope you have a wonderful, evening. Good night. I forgot my own goodbye. In case I don't see ya, have a wonderful rest of your day, afternoon, evening, and of course, good night. Bye!